videos I've been watching of people who have gone back home, after spending so many years in the diaspora. And we all want to come back home because it's not for everyone. Some people are quite happy with where they are, or where they are staying now. Some people are quite content with that because of the sacrifices people are making, because some people are still supporting their families. So you find people are working hard to still be sending money back home. You then picked yourself up and then went on to go and stay, whether it's in South Africa, Botswana, Zambia. So whether it's Mozambique, or people go and stay in UK, in Canada, in America. I don't think we should be fighting amongst ourselves to say it's them against us, because it's not, guys. When people work their way up, I can give you an example of when I first came into this country. I worked in a factory, Oh, hello, people. Welcome to Mhiribidi House. If it's your first time stopping on this channel, you are welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about something, well, it relates to how we live as people living in the diaspora, really. It's kind of been inspired by videos I've been watching of people who have gone back home, after spending so many years in the diaspora, and they are happy being home, which is fantastic. But I think it's something I just felt, I think we are forgetting something along the way when we all want to come back home at some point. We all want to, we are all thriving to get there. But I think let's not forget, guys, that however long it took yourselves to come out and go back home, that's equally similar for some of us, and for other people as well who are also in a similar situation. So if you've made it out, it sounds like someone coming out of prison, by the way people talk about the diaspora. The thing about it is people do have different experiences when they are living outside of their homes. When I say home, I'm meaning their birth country, where they come from. So it depends on where you've started, when you were out there, what you were doing, how you've been planning, whether if you've been planning to go back, because it's not for everyone. Some people are quite happy with where they are, or where they are staying now. Some people are quite content with that. But for some, that yearning of wanting to go home, for me at least, I know I always have that feeling that I want to go back home one day. I suppose I want to believe that it's natural to feel that way, because home is always best. Because I look at it like, if you're home, you can easily just visit your parents or your siblings or your friends. You can easily do that. And while we're here, there are things that we are missing out on, a lot of things. So and it's because of the sacrifices people are making, because some people are still supporting their families. So you find people are working hard to still be sending money back home to support their families, which is great. I'll never bash anyone who is doing that, because if you think about it, our parents, or whether it's your grandmothers, your grandparents, or whoever, someone in your life, significant people, brought you up, and so they were making those sacrifices during that time, to get you to where you are, or to get you to where you got to, and maybe you then picked yourself up and then went on to go and stay, whether it's in South Africa, Botswana, Zambia, Botswana, not in Zimbabwe, because that's where I'm from, and that's where people I'm talking about are from. So whether it's Mozambique, or people go and stay in UK, in Canada, in America, you name it. People have moved to other countries, and I don't think people have moved necessarily saying, oh, I definitely want to be away from my family. Not really. It was out of trying to make a better living due to different circumstances people might have found themselves in. So it's actually what happens when you do get the opportunity to do that. And I don't think we should be people against, people in Zimbabwe against people outside Zimbabwe, or, vice versa. It should not be like that, because we are all one people. Yes, some people might have gone on and learned new cultures or whatever, but we're still Zimbabweans at the end of the day. We're still Africans at the end of the day. You're still, if you're Nigerian, you're Ghanaian, you're still you're still that. So I don't think we should be fighting amongst ourselves to say it's them against us, because it's not, guys. It's not. And it will be nice, especially when people have gone outside of the country, they've learned new skills, that they bring those skills back home. And also the people back home also teach those who've been out for many years, the skills or how to live life back home, and kind of complement each other in that way, than bashing each other and saying, oh, you've got nothing, you've been out for all those years, what have you done for yourself? Because believe me, people are making lots of sacrifices. And if you've ever been blessed to receive some money from a relative who is somewhere outside the country, believe me, that money, it did not come easy. It did not come easy, because people are working. So I'll give you an example of how bad it can get, especially being, for people who are out in the diaspora. Because especially when you're starting from scratch, when you come out here, people don't always get the rosy type of jobs they were doing back home. People start off working as cleaners, either window cleaning the floors, doing the garbage bins, different, some people are carers, and people work their way up. I can give you an example of when I first came into this country. I worked in a factory. I worked in a factory when I came here, packing yogurts in a cold factory where it would be on a timing belt. Everything is rolling constant, and then you would get a 10-minute break in the morning, and then for lunch you go for half an hour. So production would literally stop for that time for you to go and have something to eat. So you will find you are on your feet. You were on your feet during that time. I'm talking of 20, what are we now, 25 now. I'm talking of 24 years ago, guys. So you'll be on your feet for 9-12 hours working, and some of these jobs are not highly paid jobs, and so for someone to break even, they will need to put in the hours big time. So one thing I've seen over the years is my roles have changed over the years. I was working in an education role where I would visit like carers in care homes, the actual staff, doing well-being promotion and health checks on them. And what I found quite shocking was how amongst, I would say Africans, Black Africans, amongst Black Africans, people would be walking with high blood pressures, blood pressures up the roof, like, 198 over 120 or 200 over something, and people would be, they can feel. The thing about a thing like blood pressure is you may not necessarily, some people may not experience any symptoms with it, so they're just getting on, or might get a little headache here and there, and some people will just be getting on, and just moving along. They don't even have time to go and see their GP. So GP is a doctor in UK, general practitioner, so they would not be able to even get time to go in and see their doctor to have a health check. So, or some people, because of their strain of needing to work that many hours, some people, places they work in, some employers are not that, they are not that good, in the sense of, if you get time off, you're not gonna get paid. So if you get sick, you're not gonna be paid. So there are some employers like that, you know, some jobs like that. So someone would then be thinking, oh, if I don't go to work, you know, what's gonna happen? You know, I will be missing out on, I'm gonna miss out on this money. Maybe they're trying to work out, because cost of living, you know, has gone up everywhere. But you know, in UK, rentals are very, very expensive. Rentals and bills, that's what you pay most of your money. That's where most of your money goes. So you'll find people will be, you know, trying to make ends meet like that, to meet their own needs, and then meet the needs of their family members back home. So the pressure is on, guys. The pressure really is on. So people I was seeing, they would have those type of high blood pressures. Or if we weighed them, we did their waist circumferences and did their BMI, they were off the charts. Their BMI will be off the scales, like really obese, at high risk of getting things like diabetes. And then you'll be looking and thinking, okay, you're telling someone, you know, that, you know, this is where you are, your blood pressure is really high, you really need to go and speak to your GP and get checked out. And people would be in so much denial. I don't know what it is with that, you know, that, you know, I am a strong believer. I believe in God 100%, but I also believe that it's the same God that gave us people like us, you know, people like doctors, people like nurses. It's the same God who gave those people the wisdom to do what they are doing. And whilst you are in need of that help and also still praying for healing, don't tell me if you've got a blood pressure of 200 over 120 or whatever, you're just going to carry on and believe that, oh, God is going to heal me and carry on. God also helps those who help themselves, guys. So we also have the responsibility, because it's literally like saying we've got the responsibility of looking after our health as well. So you can't tell me, oh, because God looks after me, I'm going to stand in the middle of the road and there's a car coming and God will save me. No, God is the same God who gives you the wisdom to know that there's a car coming, move out of the way. And you do that, yeah? So I was really gobsmacked when I'll be telling these guys, like, you know, your blood pressure is really high. We've checked it 3 times and it's still coming up super high. Please go and see your GP, or please go to A&E. Some of them we've had to say, go to A&E and, you know, go and get seen. Because, you know, high blood pressure, you're at risk of getting stroke. You're at risk of getting a heart attack. So people don't quite understand this. I don't know whether it's not understanding or it's denial. But at the same time, we are pushing ourselves, and also, you know, we're pushing ourselves to work harder and harder and harder to make ends meet, which is where I'm saying, you know, people back home should be understanding of also people in the diaspora, how difficult it can be for them. Because imagine these guys are exerting themselves as much as they are doing, probably not sleeping well, not eating very well, and working extra hours. Then we all then get surprised when stories come to social media to say, oh, you know, a person was, you know, they died whilst on the bus on their way to go to work. That should not be a surprise. We should not be shocked by that, because this is the reality of some of the people in the diaspora. That's their reality. That's why I'm saying we should all be working together, not against each other. And you know, kind of, if you've got a relative who is in the diaspora, just checking in on them and just saying, you know, how are you doing? You know, please remember to self-care, because, you know, we know these things happen. You guys work so much, you work so many long hours. There's no social life. You know, if you want to have social life, it's a real effort, because for most people, it's looking at, if I take time out to go and see so and so, someone is probably calculating the hours, so that's gonna be half of my day, and this is how much money I'm losing out, and I need to pay this, I need to pay rent, I need to pay whatever, I need to buy food, I need to transport money, I need to send money for my family. So at the end of the day, that's why you find people are not mingling or socializing as much, and that also leads to isolation. So they've got no one to talk to, or it's kind of coming in, one is coming in, going out, coming into their house, and the other one is leaving to go for a shift. And if it's people with children, literally probably handing over the children, and 10 minutes you're out. That's the reality of most people. But it's now needing to know how to navigate those situations, how to make it better, how to have a balanced work and life, how to have a work and life balance, despite other outside risk factors. So I'm just here, guys, to have just a conversation to say we need to be looking out for each other. We need to look out for ourselves, especially those in the diaspora. You need to prioritize yourself, prioritize your health, because we're seeing a lot of people with so many health problems, from, like I said, diabetes, high blood pressure, depression even. Depression is very real. We live, the weather is not always, nice that you can be out and about. It's usually cold and gloomy, and so people tend to stay indoors. You might not see, if you live in a street where you've got people who mind their own business, you might not speak to anyone if you've got no family of your own to talk to. So some people live alone and that do not necessarily have anyone to talk to, or if they talk to anyone, it's probably when they get to work. That's the conversation they're gonna have. So depression is very real. So people end up then on medication, for depression, and then when things go wrong, then people will then be laughing. What have you been doing in the diaspora all these years, and bloody, and it's just not nice. It's not nice. So I'm appealing to you all, Africans, Zimbabweans, Ghanaians, Nigerians, wherever you're from. If I've not named your country, I beg your pardon. Please forgive me for that. But it applies to us all. We came looking for opportunities to make things a little easier for various reasons, and I don't think it matters whatever reason we had to leave our homes for, because it's not nice to leave your family. Even for me, I look at my children, like there are certain things they miss out on, being spoiled by their grandparents. They might get to experience that every now and again, every few years, when they do manage to come home, and that's something that's, in as much as we may want to ignore that, there's something significant, because they learn about these things at school. They hear other children, saying, "Oh, over the weekend I went to my nan's house." Nan is a grandmother. It's a word English word they use for grandmother, gogo. Nan, they say nan. So I went to my nan's house, or I went to my granddad's house, or our children don't get to experience that, seeing their nephews, their cousins, it's tough as it is. And so when people who have made it out, like who have gone back home, it's really nice when you are showcasing that, you went back home, you're doing well, you're loving home. We all love being home. There's no place like home. I don't think even anyone who has lived in another country from the time they were born till whenever they left, they will always have that feeling of home, of wanting to go home. That will always be there. People may want to deny it, but the truth of the matter is it will always be there. Because for me, I know the relief, especially when I go home. When I say home, I'm talking about Zimbabwe, okay? So when I go home, the feeling, the minute I land on that airport, there's just this relief you get. Like, I'm home. That feeling. That's what I'm talking about. We all want to experience that. And it will be nice if we can all experience it for forever. Like we come back and we get to experience that every single day. So please I'm begging you, don't be bashing people who are still out in the diaspora trying to join things up, or whatever it is, hustling they are doing or whatever. Do not discourage them by saying, oh, we're out, you should come. Mom, what are you still doing there? They're probably not ready. And, they are not ready like where you are now, where you've made it, or maybe you've managed to make something of yourself, you've managed to build a home, you've managed to do whatever. It's not easy, guys. It's not easy for people. Because, I try and think about, for me, thankfully, I thank God that I'm building my own house. But I want to try and imagine if I didn't have that, something to go to. Imagine moving with my luggage. So my luggage is my family. Yeah, I like to call them my luggage. So imagine moving with my own luggage and going and staying like with my parents or my in-laws. It can't be easy, guys, when you've been so used to being your own person, so used to deciding, tonight I'm going to be eating this, tonight I'm going to be doing this, and all of a sudden you're going to go back and rely on someone providing for you. That can't be easy. I'm not saying it can't be done. If the situation calls for it, if you're really struggling, to make ends meet and you're somewhere out there in the diaspora, there's no shame in also going back home, going back and starting over, because it could just be the restart button you need. You can stay with family, you whilst you're trying to get something together, and you just do it slowly. So if you are in a difficult situation where you're struggling wherever you are in the diaspora and you need to go back home, please do go back home. There's no shame in doing that. But what I'm saying, for those that are in a position to try and make something for yourself, I think that's where people can struggle a little bit to just pick up and go. Because, we may want to say, you just go back home. But the reality of the situation is people can speak. Yeah. People can speak, people will talk, but then that takes a certain maturity then for you to plug your ears then and be deaf for, if you are in a situation you've had to go back and you've not done anything, just be deaf and try and make it till you make something, or till you get something sorted. But people are gonna talk either way, and to be honest, the reality of our lives is people will talk whether you have something or whether you don't have something. People always have something to say. So it's now up to you to decide, what are you going to listen to and what's best for you. Because there's no point in staying in a country if you can't afford to be there, or life is quite tough, and even you working is not sustaining you. Because if you are living hand to mouth, you're not going to come out of that situation. Something has got to change. Whether it's you try and start living below your means, which might be tough. If you are within that low earning what do you call it, point. Like, in UK they do points system for how much you get paid. So if you are on the lowest of the lowest, it's gonna be tough. But you know what, things happen when you sacrifice as well. So if it means that's what has to happen, then so be it. If it means you're going to be putting aside a bit of money to try and get something. But I'm also encouraged by people I've been seeing on the internet here, who have been bold enough to go back, even without anything, to go back home, the acceptance within themselves to say, you know what, I've been doing this for this many years, nothing is working, let me go back home. And they have gone back home. And seems like the ones I've been seeing, I don't know whether it's the channels I've been watching or what, but the ones I've been seeing, things are improving, much, much better, getting better for them. Especially now, even people are into things like farming. You can just grow your own chibage, which is maize, or you can grow your own vegetables. You can grow some of the mbambaires and all sorts, just to sustain you, and even start selling some of those things. People want to eat, so you can't go wrong with food either, if you start selling things that you grow. So I don't know, I just think, let's just try and work together. Let's not bash each other. And if we've made it out, let's keep encouraging. It's not that people don't want to come, for people to say, oh, you stay there. You were there at some point. You were in the diaspora at some point. It's only you've been blessed enough to make it out now. But let's encourage those who are still out, those of us who are still out here, to say, continue. Well, I don't know. I don't like the word hustle, to be honest. It just feels like hard work. Continue working. Putting money aside. Forgo of the luxuries and start saving up, and bit by bit. Rome was not built in one day, and things do get better. Things do get better, because I know there are people who have come here and they've. When I'm saying here, I'm relating to UK, who have come to UK and they've struggled, and some have even gone back. It's a tough life. It's a tough life. If you ask those people who have gone back, they'll tell you it's not easy. It's not easy. And when you see people come over for holiday for a week or two, you don't get to see what they've had to go through, the sleepless nights, the not eating breakfast to rush out of the door, so many sacrifices people have had to make. But it also takes intentionality. I'm not talking to the people who are still in the diaspora. You have to be intentional about looking after yourself as well. Don't kill yourself just because you've got so many responsibilities. You need to look at what you are doing. Look, for me, budget was a godsend for me. Do your budgeting. Try and live below your means. That guys, that does work. When you live below your means, it means you're gonna be putting more money aside, and try and have goals. Set some goals on what you want to actually achieve. Don't just live your day like you are on a lottery, where it's my lucky dip today. You've got to have goals, guys. Have goals on what you want to work on. How are you going to try and implement that, plan to achieve that goal? How long do you foresee, or how long in terms of time do you need to achieve that goal? What's realistic? Because let's face it, bills, rent or mortgage, childcare, your health, they are real. These things are real. Yeah, these things are very real. So I encourage you guys, if you haven't been to see your doctor, please arrange to see your doctor at least once a year, just to get a health check, or even buy yourself a blood pressure machine. Buy yourself a blood pressure machine to keep a check on your blood pressure, and just to make sure your blood pressure is okay. If your blood pressure starts going 140/90, you need to see your GP. Yeah, you need to definitely see your doctor for them to keep an eye on that. but you want to try and keep it as low as possible, below that number. And make sure if you're eating, try and eat healthily. Try and eat healthily. Less of my rice and sadza or fufu, less of that stuff. Less, like a fistful amount. Your fist amount should be your amount of carbs that you consume, and not too much, because those are the very things that are going to cause you problems, because the food we eat is not organic food. It's not organic food, so we are already at a disadvantage from that, from that perspective. So you also need to make some changes to try and make your health a bit better. So yeah, plenty of fruits. You can eat as many fruits, vegetables as you like. You can never go wrong with vegetables. Plenty of vegetables, yeah. And make sure you drink. Keep yourself well hydrated, because we are working long hours. So you've got to keep drinking so you don't become dehydrated. And get some sleep. Try and get good enough sleep. Minimum 7 hours sleep, if you can. I know it's not always possible, especially where, if you work in the UK, if you're lucky to get 4 hours, then you've actually, but if it's days you are not working, you're off, try and go to bed early, even if it's just you lying down in bed, so be it. Your body just needs to relax and look after yourself. You only have one you, guys. If you die, God forbid, should anything happen to you, even the family you want to be looking out for, then they've got nothing to. It can't happen because you're gone. So you've got to look after yourself. And even people back home, please, I'm begging you, don't put too much pressure on your relatives. For me, I'm blessed. My family is not like that. They don't put pressure on us. We do what we can. And but I've heard of families who will be ringing someone, Koma Zodi, Shazodin, we're still waiting. You need to give these people a break, because it's not easy as it is for them. But if they are able to do it and do it safely, without compromising themselves or their health, fair enough. That's, fair enough. But let's try and look out for each other like that. So guys, I'm really sorry if I've been controversial in this video, but I've just been watching videos and I could not contain it anymore. I just felt like I need to post something. I need to say something about these things I'm seeing, that life can be tough on people who are in the diaspora.